Hello Juliana, thank you for sending in your video. Thank you for supporting this wonderful charity. First thing I'd say, mate, is he looks like a big strong horse. They're usually these big strong horses, they're usually a little bit behind the leg, and right from the get-go I would try and insist with the, if you're looking to improve the connection or the quality of the connection, is really try and get him marching. He's probably quite a laid-back character, I'm guessing, but he's got to understand that when it's time to work, you got to work. And I would try and gently see if you could get him marching a little bit more in the walk. To me, if you could get him marching in the walk, you'd have a bit more of a consistent contact. It's only a small thing, but I would probably put your stirrups down 1 or 2 holes. I know I'd have 3 lengths of stirrups when I'm riding. I'd have my jumping length, my dressage length, and then when I'm in a jumping saddle like this and just flooding them around, I'd sort of have what I'd call my riding length. And to me, you're just a little bit short in the stirrup for, working him on the flat. And if you lower your stirrups 1 or 2 holes, I think you'll get your calf and your inner thigh just around him a little bit more. And you can sort of almost wrap your legs around him a bit more. So same thing in the trot. Try and set the tone to be a little bit more positive. See if you can... Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're getting up in him a little bit more there. So I like what you just did there. That correction there was good. And it might feel that you're hassling him a little bit, but we want him taking you forward. And for your first part of your session, that would be the biggest thing I'd be concentrating on, that he's going so forward that you're almost having to hold him back, or at the moment you're almost begging him to go a bit. So, you could put a small spur on, but I think with this type of horse, I'd probably give him spur marks. I'd ride him with a dressage whip, and you could just, with the dressage stick, you can just gently, touch him a little bit behind, which might upset him or whatnot, but it would definitely get him firing a little bit more. And for me, anyway, I know I'm a 3-day event rider, but I'd have a little bit more weight off him. He looks like a good keeper. And I probably cut his food back a little bit and just see if you could make him look just a little bit more athletic. So I like this frame you got him in here. So that frame there where he's just sort of stretching down with both reins. So this is better work here. So to me, this is a little bit better of a stretching frame and a little bit more of a motivated trot. A lot of the time with these horses, I find the more you work them, like the further into the session you get, the better they get. Like they sort of, the first 5 or 10 minutes, they're a bit stuck and a bit behind you. And then as you keep working them, they get into the motion of things a little bit more. With your riding, if you can think of being just a little bit lighter in the saddle, and it's only a tiny little adjustment, but if you could, sometimes when you sit down on his back, it's quite a heavy sit, and if there's a way you could be just a little bit lighter in the saddle, so that as you're trotting around, you're not sort of sitting into the back of the saddle, and you're not sort of dropping all your body weight down, so you'd almost be popping up half as much, and then you just think of lightly tapping the saddle with your bum. Right. And what we want to try and do is make him a little bit more electric to your leg. So that was good with the stick. So that what we're going to try and train this guy to do is that at the moment you have to push him with your leg every step just to keep him going. And I think you're better off being a bit more aggressive with your leg to being really, really soft. So one big pony club kick and say, get in front of me, even if he can as often throws in a buck, and then really, really light with your leg. Or if you had a dressage whip, you can touch him up with the stick and sort of almost stir him up a bit so that you can actually be a lot stiller with your leg. So a great trainer once told me, when you're training horses, you either whisper or you shout, and don't nag. And a little bit in the way you're riding there, it's you've got a good way of riding, but you're a little bit it's too much work. It's too much exercise for you. You should be able to sit lighter, sit stiller, have a stiller leg. And at the moment, I think if you tried to sit light and have a still leg, you'd just fall to walk. So that's where we've got to tune him up a bit. These transitions are good. So to me, your position in walk's great. So if you look at your pelvis and your hip, it's really going along with the horse's walk well. So it's good. You don't have any stiffness in your body positions, encouraging him to stay forward. Again, another small thing is trying to keep your forearms and your hands more still, so that when you're posting in the trot, your hands and your forearms aren't going up at the same rate of your hips. So that almost as you stand up on your post, your hands will go down, and as you sink down in your post, your hands will come up. And so there's got to be maybe a little bit more softness in your elbow. At the moment, your position's good, but your elbow's quite sort of stiff and locked, and then your forearms and hands are a little locked as well. Good, these trot poles are good. Good again, if you could get them just a little bit more forward, a little bit more out of pace. And then for me, it's a great frame for him to be in. So he's sort of a little bit rounder in the neck, and he's reaching over his top line. And I think it looks like it wouldn't take that much more work to get him in a bit more of a consistent frame like that. Like I said before, it's gently pushing him forward into both reins. There we go. Very good. Again, energy, energy, energy. Good, he's got a good action. Good way of going. It's like a lot of flies down your way, or mosquitoes or something, or maybe I'm seeing something on the screen. Good. One exercise that might be worth doing is trying to do a couple of trot poles together in succession. So what do I put them, I think, 4 feet apart. If you could get 3, even 4 trot poles 4 foot apart, I think that would actually help spice his trot up, and it will force you to come in a stronger trot when you come into the trot poles, because you'll have to use a bit of suspension and push across them. And for me as well, with a horse like this, I'd give him plenty of walk breaks. Just let him freshen up a bit. That'll go. Because he's sort of horse, to me, that if you work him really, really hard for long periods of time, he'll start getting a bit sour. So still work him hard when you train him, but do a bit of trot, bit of canter, get a bit of a walk break, let him freshen up, catch his breath, then into him again. So this trot's a much, much better trot than what you had at the beginning. See, this trot's going somewhere. So I want this trot right from the get-go, right from the start. And canter's good. So to me, your positioning canter's great. You're again looking at the swing of your hip, swing of your pelvis. A lot of people bounce out of the saddle in canter, and you've got you're flowing along with him. Cantering poles on the ground's a great exercise. Actually, it trains you as the rider to feel a distance and see a stride. And if you mess it up, it doesn't really matter because it's only a pole on the ground. Rather, if it was a fence, trip and stumble over it. And in his canter, I'd do what you're doing there and probably raise his front end up a bit. So in the trot and the walk, I'd have his neck down and reaching and stretching. But in the canter, we want his front end or his wither almost to come uphill. So I'd actually ride his frame up as best you can. Oh, I've just stopped my video here. Bear with me. I'm just fixing my video up. I accidentally restarted it, so I'm just trying to find where I was before. Oh, here we go. Back in business. Yeah, and try and think. The hard thing with the horse like this is that we're continuously trying to train the horse to be better and better. And on top of that, always be working towards correct training, always working towards improvement, and trying to get the horse do what we want to do and improve. Okay, we're at the jumping now. So he's got a good jump. And this canter you got here for the jumping, I want you to try and create this canter for the flat work. So this canter here that you've got for get you over these jumps is a lot more. And then I've just started the cross country now. Just watch your upper body over those cross country jumps. Try and stay with him in the air. Good, and he's got a good gallop for a bigger horse. Especially these single fences, we're always looking to catch these fences out of stride, out of rhythm. One thing I'd say is you've got a good natural eye for cross-country jumping. Nice and forward and in good rhythm. All right, well, I've just finished. I think I messed the video up at about 12 minutes 50. I had to restart and then fast forward, so I might be a little bit out of whack at the end. But again, thank you for sending a video in. You got a good horse. He looks like he loves you a lot. And good luck with him. Cheers.